Hi everyone, welcome to the SASP Take 20 fitness videos.
We can do these, you can follow along whether it's before work, during your break or after work. It's really up to you how you take part, but it's just really a chance to have a break from the desk, from the screen, and follow along with us in the way that you want to. My name's Leanne, I'm Leanne Clark, I'm the Active Ageing Manager for SASP.
And I'm Jo Smith and I'm the Senior Active Lifestyle Manager, and we're both qualified exercise professionals, and we're here to guide you through ways through the series of exercise about how you can be active at your desk. Most important is to think about yourself and your body, so think about the space around you, make sure that everything's sort of safely out of the way. If you're doing this in a chair, just bring the chair just slightly away from the desk so you are able to move your arms and legs as you're seated. Also, the pace that you're working at, listen to your body. We want to slowly get ourselves to a stage where we're slightly blowy, we don't need to be out of breath. And your own abilities, don't try to do things that you don't think you can do. I'll try to give you an adaptation as well. So say if we were reaching high, if you've suffered with your shoulders, then perhaps you can bring that across the body. So we will do that as we go along, so it's something that you can manage with.
So we've got lots of videos and lots of content, exercise content on our YouTube channel, which is Somerset Activity and Sports Partnership. If you just type it into the YouTube address, you can find all of our videos that Jo has made up until this point, and all of the ones that we're producing here today. We've also got the SASP website, which has loads of information about how to keep active at home, how to keep active out and about, and also some office-based sort of challenges as well that you might want to get involved with your colleagues.
So to find out a little bit more info around keeping active, do come onto the website. There's lots of information there. We've also got our Facebook pages and our Instagram pages where we're loading lots and lots of activity there and ideas and where to find that activity. So do check those out, and also the Twitter page.
And don't forget, we've got some Facebook live sessions coming soon on our We Are Undefeatable Somerset page. So if you search for that one in Facebook, myself and Jo will be going live very soon, and we'll bring you some new exercise content on there as well. So please do check out the group, and there's lots of other things that are happening on there for you to get involved with as well.
Okay, so without further ado, you've been sat at that desk for rather a long time, and something that we need to remember when we're sat at that desk is to try and take a break about every 20 minutes and take your eyes away from that screen. And this is a really nice neck stretch as well. So 20 minutes, so if you remember 20, so 20 minutes, so every 20 minutes, I want you to look 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. Just looking away, taking your eyes away from that screen, giving them a little rest, but also a lovely little neck stretch. You can always come back halfway through and take it to the other side as well. So stretching off that neck so you can feel a lovely stretch, but those eyes are taking a break from that screen. Okay. Right, so first of all, if you're staying seated, I want you to wriggle your bottoms so you're on the last third of that chair. If you feel confident enough and you have the desk in front of you, you can use that as your support, or you can take the chair and do the same exercise behind the chair. And if you feel really confident, then you can do that without the chair. But always have that to hand, or the desk to hand, so you can use it as you feel ready to. So first of all, we're going to start off with those feet, same seated as we are standing. So we're gently marching those feet. So remember, you're warming up, so it's really important that you do this in a nice, steady, confident way. We're going to start to roll those shoulders as well, right up to the ears and back down again. So making a nice little circle with those shoulders as you go. Then we're going to take it the other way. So rolling around. This one's a little bit easier going forward than it is backwards. Squeezing round. Perfect. And then you're going to get your skipping ropes out. And you're going to do a bit of fancy skipping. So first of all, you're taking that rope forward. So we're going through all those joints, warming them up and getting them nicely lubricated as we go along with a little bit of the old synovial fluid, and the other way. So taking those arms into a little skip.
This takes me back to childhood, Jo.
Yeah. And there's lots of skipping challenges we also do on the website. Okay, then we're jumping into the pool. We wish we were, and we wish it was lovely, lovely weather. Hopefully it won't be too long before we get there. So a nice little breaststroke. So lovely. Just taking that forward. Nice big strokes, and then you're just going to swing those arms gently and just try to pick up those feet a little bit higher.
good to get the arms swinging, isn't it, Jo?
Absolutely. So that's going to take the heart rate up a little bit more. You're not just working on the legs, which are going to take that heart rate up, but also with the arms there, you're making it a stronger exercise. So listen to that body, listen to how your breathing's going. If you're already getting out of breath, then you need to bring that a little bit lower. Okay, now we're going to start taking it down to the toes. We're going to tap the toes out to the front. I'm just bringing the arms up and down. Not doing anything too fancy, not too much to remember, but it's great to do those two movements so you get that brain into gear. We don't want it to have switched off when you're at that computer. And then we're going to go down to the heel. So I'm going to do a bicep curl with this one. So your elbows are fixed into the side and you're just lifting those hands up towards the shoulders, but I'm keeping the elbows fixed and it's just those forearms that I'm moving up and down. That's perfect. And then we're going to do a little tap to the side and we're just gently taking those arms out to the side. Remember, if it feels too much with the arms, you can always just take the arms and the hands onto the front of the thighs or onto the waist. So work with what feels right for you. Tapping those toes. Wonderful. And now we're going to bring it back in for a march and we're going to show off a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of backstroke. Now, if you suffer with your shoulders, you can bring this more out to the sides rather than over the head. Just again, listen to that body and what that body is telling you. If it's getting really crunchy, that might well be where you spend all your time in front of that screen. So just start lower. And let's go the other way. We're going into a front crawl now. So a nice big stretch through. Perfect. Okay, and then we're going to do some gentle side steps or tapping to the sides if you're seated. Wonderful, perfect. So waking up that body now. You should feel the heart rate is raising just slightly now as we're going through.
Certainly feel a little bit warmer, Jo.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the first time we felt warm in this office, that's for sure. Brilliant. Okay, now if you're seated, you're just going to curl the heel up underneath the chair. Standing, we're going to just take those heels to the side. So same exercise, working on the back of those thighs. They don't get a lot of work while you're sitting down. Those sitting muscles not working as well. If you want to make that a little bit harder, you can just bring the arms back as you come through, or keep the hands either on the hips or front of thighs. And if you're feeling a little bit more full of energy, you can just bring those arms up a little bit more, squeezing those shoulder blades back as you go. Brilliant. Feel everything moving through now. Excellent. And we're back into our side stepping now. Just bringing those arms in front and behind as you go through, warming up that body. That's fantastic. So you're getting towards the halfway mark now. So you know you can go and eat that nice little tuna bake when you've done.
Don't forget, if you are sitting down, just try and remember to keep your posture up nice and tall. Okay, it's quite easy to sort of bring yourself forward a little bit as you get into the exercises and you're thinking more about what your arms and legs are doing, but actually think about your shoulders and your back as well and your posture to keep yourself nice and tall. Absolutely.
And remember, we've all got something underneath this little fledge that we've put on during the pandemic. So drawing those little belly buttons in a little to give you a little bit more support in that lower back as you're working. Okay, going to take it up a little bit more. You're going to raise those knees. So lifting the knees up in front. We can bring a bit of chest in there. So as you're lifting, you're pushing away from the chest. So working those muscles, not only in the front of the thigh, but also in and across the chest as well. Nice and steady. Remember to go at your own pace. You don't need to stay up with me. Just follow the movement. Wonderful. And then we're going to go back to those curls, working those muscles in the back of those thighs. Brilliant. So you should all be feeling that little bit warmer than when we started. And we'll do some useful exercises that will help with keeping those legs nice and strong as we go through our exercises. Okay, so I want you to take those legs wide. So two ways of doing this. So if you're standing, you can use a desk or a chair. feet hip width apart. If you suffer with your knees, just turn those toes slightly out to the side, and it's as if you're going to sit yourself down in the chair. I'm not going to sit on Leanne's lap, not just yet, when we get a bit worn out. Now if you're seated, you're taking yourself forward, a little bit unbalanced, tummy in, and then lifting back up again. So working those muscles, front and back of thigh and the bottom, and all those lovely abdominal muscles are working to keep you nice and strong in the core if you're leaning forward and coming back up. Now it's really important that we try to keep the knees from going over the front of the feet. So when you look down, you should still be able to see those little tootsies. Really, really important. This is one of the best exercises you can do. Helps us when we're getting on and off a loo, in and out of a car, on and off the bed, in and out of a bath. So everyday movement, really important. We've only got 2 more to go of these. Taking it down, brilliant. And a little march out. So we're taking that march up a little bit more if you can. Arms are coming up, feeling those muscles starting to work quite nicely. Swinging through, nice and strong. Fabulous. Okay, now we're going to go into some side steps now. And we're going to add in a lovely exercise for your posture, your upper back. So Leanne will be doing a sideways movement, so you'll be able to see that movement. And I'm going to do that from the front. So it's as if you're rowing an upright row. So you're lifting up, the elbows lead, up to the chest and back down again. If you wanted to make that a little bit harder, if you've got some water bottles, you could use some tins if you've got some handy, if you're doing this, you're still working from home. Also, perhaps if you've got a kettlebell or a dumbbell, anything that's a little bit heavier, that will get you working. So really squeezing those shoulder blades together as you lift up, so you can feel those lovely posture muscles working in the upper back. Really important at the moment, because when we're sat at a desk, it tends to have us with our head forward, so we're squeezing and working those muscles in the upper back. And march it out.
Yeah, I find that I really notice it here, Jo, when I'm working at the desk for a long
So
period of time.
important.
Yeah, these upper back muscles are really important to kind of stretch out regularly if you can.
And make sure, you don't want to be kyphotic when you get older, which is where you've got the head forward. So if we can work on that now, all the better. So then we're going to work on opening out the chest. So little gentle side steps again. You're going to take those arms to the front, make a fist, and then we're squeezing those shoulder blades back and then pushing forward to the front. Again, this is something you could do with some tins or even a band if you've got an exercise band. Squeezing back, taking it forward. Nice and strong.
Quite a good tip for this one is try not to, as you bring your arms back, is try not to bring your neck forwards. Okay, so when we are sat at the desk, it's quite common for us to want to protrude our neck forwards as we're watching the screen. So try if you can to tuck that chin back in as you're doing the movement backwards. So don't be tempted to come forwards with it. Okay, let those back muscles do all the hard work.
And release down. Fantastic. Okay, one that a lot of people ask us about are the muscles in the back of the arm. So they're really useful. If you found yourself on the floor or you're pushing yourself up from somewhere, really good ones to work. So working on those muscles down through the back of the arms. I won't go sideways because Leanne's doing the sideways move. So we're going to take those elbows back and they stay in place back behind you. It's just the forearm that we're working on. And then you're going to push back with those arms, keeping the elbow in place, and then that forearm comes forward. So this is the one that us ladies don't like, the old bingo wings.
The bingo wings.
Bring it in and pushing out. Perfect. We already did the other opposing muscles, that's our biceps, when we were doing the warm-up. So we're just working on those muscles in the back of the arms. Okay, give it a little shake out, and you're coming to the end of your workout, and we're going to go into a little stretching piece now. So bringing that down, give everything a lovely little shake, and we'll go through some exercises that are really, or stretching movements, flexibility work, that's going to be really useful for you, particularly if you're sat for long amounts of time. Okay, So the first one is going to be our calf stretch. Now this is quite awkward to do in a chair, but I will show you. So we do calf and we'll do the back of the thigh first of all, and then I'm going to go into the hip flexors. So first of all, we're going to supporting knee. So our supporting knee, left knee, is going to be slightly bent. Then you're going to take the other leg out. Bottom goes back, chest comes forward. Try to keep the chest up and the chin up, and you're stretching off the back of the thigh. So you can see how you can do this. We're going into the gardening season now, so this is really an important exercise. So you should be able to feel a stretch through the back of the thigh. If you can't feel it, then you're pushing just slightly forward or slightly backwards, a little bit more to feel that stretch. With the toe facing up a little bit more, that will also increase that stretch down through the back of the thigh. So nice relaxed breathing. You've come to the end of your little workout session. You're giving it a stretch. Now by pulling the toes up a little bit more towards you, you should feel the calf stretching if you're in the seated position. In a standing position, we're just going to take a step back and push that heel down into the floor to feel the stretch way down in the lower part of that same leg. So a nice big stretch for the calf. And then we do exactly the same. Bring that leg in, same on the other side. So straightening out the leg. Ooh, remember our 2 meters? So bottom back, chest is forward, but trying to keep that chin up nice and high. Tummy is just drawn in to support that lower back if you are standing, and if you're sitting, so that you don't lose your posture. So the toes slightly up towards the ceiling. You're feeling that lovely stretch down the back of the leg. And if you wanted to increase to stretch the calf, you pull those toes up towards you, or if you're standing as I am, heel down, front knee bent, pushing down into the back of the thigh.
It does feel very good. It hits
such a great spot.
If you're doing it right, you'll really feel it. It's a really good stretch to do.
Another really important one, and this is probably one that's going to be much better standing, is to stretch off the hip flexor. So I'm going to do this with a chair so you can see how to do this. It's quite hard to do it seated. We will show you the position, but it's much harder to do it seated. So it's as if you're going into that calf stretch that we did earlier. So a big step back, pushing the weight down into the back of the heel and the front knee bent. And then we're going to come up onto the toes on that back leg, where you were stretching the calf, and then you're just going to gently tilt the pelvis forward so you can feel a lovely stretch coming all the way down the front of the leg, around the hip and the pelvis area. So stretching through the hip flexors. They can get very tight when we're sat for long amounts of time. So this is really a big stretch to do.
They're constantly contracted, aren't they, when you sat down? Absolutely. So it's tightening this area all the time when we're sat. So unless we do the opposite version and stretch it out, it just becomes tighter and tighter, and that's when a lot of hip problems can happen.
Absolutely. And then the same on the other side, obviously. Into your calf position, or as we were seated. Front knee is bent, up onto the toes on that back foot, and then just push that pelvis forward to feel that lovely stretch down the back of the thigh. Try to keep the back straight, so trying not to arch the back. It's just that front of the hip and the pelvis that you're pushing forward, keeping that nice straight support in the rest of the back.
As Jo mentioned, this is quite tricky to do from a chair. You need to be quite stable in your positioning so that you don't fall or rock too much. But if you can do it standing, that's definitely our preference, isn't it, Jo?
Absolutely. Much safer for you. I mean, the chair would have to be up against the wall, so you don't want it going forward. But it's so much, you get so much more of a stretch when you're pushing forward with that one. So that's sort of the legs looks after, but upper body, I'd say probably the most important stretch that you could possibly do is the hug. So you're going to take your arm across the body, right the way across the front of the body. The other hand's going to come up just behind and just cradle the elbow, and then you're gently going to pull that arm in towards you, and you should feel an amazing stretch in the top of the shoulder and down the top of that arm. If you're standing, just keep those knees nice and soft. So give it a hug. If you do struggle with that one, you can rest the hand on the shoulder and then pull in. So that will give you exactly the same stretch, but you're just feeling a little bit more supported with that arm. as if you were cradling a broken arm. Let's hope you don't get one of those. And take that down. It's a lovely stretch to do, and I would recommend doing this as often as you can through the day because it will really help. So either hand on the shoulder or across the body, other hand comes up behind the elbow, cradle that elbow and give it a little hug. A little bit of love.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's really
Feels
great
good.
stretch. Really great stretch. Okay, so you're nicely stretched out. Remember those stretches, particularly the hug and the hip flexor stretch. They're going to be really useful if you're sat at your desk for long amounts of time. Thanks for joining in, and look out for those Facebook Live sessions because they'll be coming your way soon so we can have everybody jogging around in the office. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching today. We really appreciate your time and hope that you've got something from the exercise today. Thank you.
Thank you.